Hi, welcome to the Tidbits. I saw something recently that said that over the next 2 years, 12,000 people every day will be turning 65. So that's me. A lot of people I know are all turning 65. And how does that impact us as homeowners? And what are some things that we should be doing going forward? So the first thing I would recommend is to talk to a tax professional. That's the number one thing. There was something that came up a couple of months ago. They're discussing it. I'm not quite sure whether it's been enacted, but it's not something that we handle. It's just something that we keep you informed about. If your house sells for $1 million or more, it's not your primary residence, or maybe if it is, that one I'm not positive about, and you're moving out of state, then if you may have to pay an additional 4% tax on the gains on that property. So gains are calculated in a number of ways. There's a lot of that goes into it, including improvements. So you would want to talk to a tax person to help you determine whether you had a gain, number one, whether it was whether you're moving out of state. So all of these things, when you go to sell your home, you'll be asked about. But before you decide to sell, it's better to talk to somebody now so you understand where all of that information is going and make a decision based on it, rather than putting it on the market, getting an offer, and then talking to an attorney who says, by the way, you're going to have to pay another 4%. You could have said, oh, I could have waited, whatever. So consider that. The other thing is, there used to be a thing where as a couple, you could deduct up to $500,000 of gains on your property when you went to sell it. And then if you bought something else, you'd roll it over until you went into an apartment or assisted living or something along that line. And it was $250,000 per single person. So I'm not sure if that's still a tax thing or not. And maybe you can help me with that. It used to be. So if that is still active and it's still something that is done, then that's also something to consider. If you've made more than $250,000 on your home, maybe consider or think about selling it as a couple versus aging in place and waiting till one of you goes and then having to move after that because of a number of different reasons. So if that is you and you're hitting that threshold, just something, again, to talk to a tax professional about. And also considering whether, it's whether this house is your full-time home or a second home for you. That's also something that they would need to calculate gains and losses on. And whether you wanted to age in place. So a lot of times people, like we did, lived off Cape, had our big home there, bought a Cape house, and then moved into it years later when we downsized. So if this becomes your primary residence, how does that impact selling your old primary residence tax-wise? There's a lot of information that a tax professional needs to help you calculate all of that. And it's best to get out all of that information together and determine how that's going to impact you before you actually put your house in the market or even talk to a realtor. So do all of your homework first and figure out so that you're not surprised when you go to sell your house and all of a sudden the attorney says, oh, and we've got to withhold this much for taxes. And you're like, that's a lot of money. So just to be prepared, and you can plan accordingly to make sure that it's going to work within your budget and within all of your plans going forward. So that's kind of it for the week. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out about selling your home. But I urge you to talk to a tax professional first before you do any of that legwork. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you next time.